pretty cool. Everything is automatic and it's automated completely. So kind of if you go here, right? What I want to show you. Um, okay, there's an admin center which I'm not able to find out. I think it's where here it is somewhere. Yeah, this one is what you want to click on, and it is so many URLs, so difficult to figure out where it is. But this is pretty much where you need to be. It's called admin.microsoft.com. Okay, and that's where we have provisioned all our users. Now, if you go to the users, you can see that all our two hackathon members are set up, and most of you have got EC365 developer subscription license, so you should all be able to do exactly what I'm doing. So this should give you at least a little bit of head start, right? So the thing you want to really here is what TeamsFX is doing behind the scenes, right? So if you open up that show all, there's actually a tied to this M365 account. So if you click on that, it actually opens up the Azure portal, and I want to show you the important piece that happens behind the scenes to enable SSO, right? And this, if you don't use TeamsFX, you have to do all this manually. And there's an actually an app camp website where it goes through all the details and it actually shows you how to do it manually. But this makes it so easy. So if you click on this, so if you see here, there is this is AD, Azure AD, and then you need to click on app registration. So every application that needs to have SSO needs to be registered with an AAD, and only then the users in the AAD can actually do single sign-on. So if you click on app registrations, you will see a bunch of applications here. Um, so if you see here, this is the one we are talking about, the one which is provision. So TeamsFX did all the work for you, and it actually created this application directly inside AAD and given it all the configuration it needs. So what configurations, right? So this is very important because if you don't get this right, the SSOs won't work. So if you go through the manual way of doing things, it will show you that there are a couple of things that you need to set up. Whenever you have an app and you register it, you need to set up a couple of things. So first thing is authentication. So if you come to authentication, this is pretty much how you will set up your application to allow you to do your work. To allow you to do your work. So you can see there's a web redirect URL and there's a single page application URL. So these are the two that is configured behind the scenes. So then the second thing is certificates and secrets. So it has set up a default secret, and then it has used this inside the properties file of our local application. So all this, if you don't go to the TeamsFX route, you have to do it manually. So it's a very cumbersome process. So that's step number two. The step number three is API permissions, right? So if you go to API permissions, here it is giving you this permission where you have given your application power to read everything about the signed in user, and you can also do different things on behalf of the user that has been logged in. So all this setup is a prerequisite for making anything work with authentication, and this is where life becomes very easy with the Teams FX SDK versus doing it manually, right? So that is pretty much what I wanted to cover in this video. I wanted to show you what's the advantage of Teams FX, what it contains, React, etc. And I have taken and built a completely new application that uses this and kind of simulates more of our use case that we want to do, and that is what kind of what I will show you in more detail. So I think that will be a good starting point. Like if you change anything here, right, it will automatically refresh in your application. That's not the right application, sorry. So it'll actually change here. If you see it here, right, so testing got changed here. And if you say publish your teams, I want to make it something else. You can just, this is pretty cool because you're changing React code on the fly. And it's recompiling. And actually, like if you save it, see it says recompiling and then it runs it. And that automatically handles it, right? So that is kind of what I want to show you. Let me close this and then I'll show you another way of doing it with a CLI, right? So that's called TeamsFX CLI. If you don't want to go through this route of Visual Studio and all that, that's another way to do it. So let me close this. And and then once you close the browser, it knows that you have closed the browser and you can see that it kills this one. So if you hit enter here, it will just close the window, right? So let's close this also. Let me jump to this one. Let me go to the right folder. See, right? This is the directory. This is the directory where it actually saved it, right? And then you can actually go to TeamsFX sample dir. So this is exactly the thing which I was showing you before, right? So tabs, etc. So when you need to install the TeamsFX CLI, that's actually just one command, and it installs it in npm globally. It's available for everybody. So if you want to do it through command line, you do it like this. Preview minus local, right? So if you do that, it's basically going to do the exact same steps that Visual Studio did. Like if you run this one, you can see that it actually does everything, and that this is actually way easier to see and do. And you will get a bunch of prompts, etc., for accepting the development certificate and all that. Just accept everything, and you should be good to go. So now if you see, right, all these steps, it's actually doing checking whether the node version is correct, checking whether you have an account and its side loading is enabled, and you just make sure that you installed your development certificate, and it checks for making sure 53,000 is not blocked. Right, it checks a lot of things and makes your life a lot easier than what you would have to do manually, right? So same thing, I'm just demoing the same app, and then you can add it back, and it'll work just the same exact way how it worked with Visual Studio. So same thing I showed you. This it just jumps up for a second time. Just close it. I don't know why. Just close it, and then it'll actually be here. And then you can see React code inside demo, testing, etc. Whatever. No, we have changed is right here. So that's a quick overview of how TeamsFX helps you, especially in the cases where you need SSO and AAD integration and all that. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this helps, and we'll actually go to the our real application, which is built based on TeamsFX, and then that is what I'll demo to you in the next video. Thank you.